starts the recording. Hi, everyone. This is Scott from the Central Florida chapter of ASTA. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We will be hearing from Angela about social media posting within the industry. She is a titan and knows more than I ever thought was possible about social media. So as we go through today, if you have any questions, please put them into the Q&A box so that they don't get lost in the chat. I will be sending out a follow-up email after this with her contact information. So if there's anything that you need to ask later on, feel free to ask it. If you're watching this as a recording, feel free to reach out to Angela with any questions that you think of as well. Sorry, I'm volunteering you already.
That's okay.
But if you want to go ahead, you can take it away.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. I'm Angela Hughes. I don't know if we have met through this kind of venue before, but I'm currently coming from London, England right now. So I'm in my hotel room. I just dropped my daughter off for 3 years of college here. And I've been working from Europe all summer. So I've been spending a lot of time on social media. And so today I was kind of thinking, like, what could we talk about that's just a little bit different than just your average posting? And so I was kind of going through my database of like amazing topics, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about digital strategies to take you. I mean, because a lot of people are on Facebook and they're on Instagram and they know the basics of some of these things. And so this isn't going to be kind of like your basic class, so to speak. I thought that we could talk some digital strategies that'll help you grow your social media and help you grow your presence. And I'm always speaking on helping advisors grow their premium and luxury space. I actually own a host agency. And so I'm in the same situation a lot of you guys are, trying to get your advisors to sell more, or you're trying to get yourself to sell more. And so I'm always looking for like keen strategies to help them kind of move the needle a little bit and make more money with less time, right? So working smart. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Trying to do this without, I'm so blind that I struggle. So let's talk some digital strategies. And I'm kind of focusing this a little bit more on moving into the luxury space. And so if you're not quite there yet, these are some things that'll help you get there. And I think everybody's goal should be to be $1 million agent. And some of you might be thinking like, great, I'm 68. I don't want to work that hard. That's okay too. I tell my advisors, like, hey, set a target. If you're at making 20,000 now, stretch for 40,000 next year. Or if you're making 40, stretch for 80. Or if you're happy where you're at and content, be happy and content where you're at. You are your own business and you drive your own revenue. And so just make a goal where you want to be, and that's what you should aim for. But when I'm talking today, I'm going to talk to you like I'm talking to my advisors that we're trying to grow into $1 million advisors. Okay, so first of all, in the digital marketing category, there's so many things that make up the internet per se, right? I'm a former college professor. I've taught a lot of digital marketing strategies in my classrooms at Brigham Young University. And a lot of people just seem to focus on the social media piece, and they're missing all of the other valuable content and components that drive the digital marketing to be successful. If you are one of those people who are sitting there right now going, my social media doesn't get, it doesn't move, no needle moves on it, I don't really get any likes, I never get bookings off of that. We're going to talk about some strategies tonight, and let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if that's you and you feel like you're not making any headway with your digital marketing. And so digital marketing, again, means social media is one of those, just one of these. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things here that you need to be focusing on that make for a strong digital marketing campaign. So today we're going to be focusing on social media, but I'm going to be also driving this digital marketing train today. Branding, so important, right? I want you, because we could have a whole lecture on branding. I want you to think about your branding. Does it look like it was just made on Etsy? Is it palm trees and little airplanes swirling, just kind of your homemade logo? Does your website look like it's professionally made, or is the color scheme? That's so important, the color scheme. Does that look cohesive? I've got to push up my computer here because I'm stacked on 4 pillows in this hotel room with my computer because I don't have a desk right now. So looking at your website, look at it and go, does that scream luxury? Does that scream premium space when people look at it? Because all of these things are going to tie into the way you market yourself online. And if you're not seeing that when you look at it, start jotting down some notes of how you might be able to improve not only your branding, but your website so you can get better leads. Okay. And eventually it's all going to go down this funnel of conversion. Okay. The other thing in the digital marketing category is search engine optimization. I'm going to talk a little bit about that for a minute. Is the content that you're putting out search engine ready? Or do you just type out anything and throw it out there? We'll talk about that in just a minute. Advertising. Are you doing advertising? A lot of you are posting on social media. So you may think, I'm really strong in social media. I'm not doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, maybe I'm not doing search engine optimization. Maybe I'm not advertising. Maybe I'm not gearing up my content to market. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about that, how we should be dripping content in this presentation tonight that'll help you convert your clients to buy. I don't care if you have 1 million followers, if they're not converting to actually buy something from you, then it's kind of a fail. You can have 1 million, and we see this all the time in the influencer world, millions of followers converting into what? Okay. Do your things go viral? I'd say most of us probably don't have viral postings. And then at the end of the day, is your digital marketing showing service value? Okay. So who is the luxury consumer? If you can, I've got to put on glasses here. This is just a really great avatar for you to determine who, if you're focusing on a client. Now, again, this is my avatar. It might not be your avatar. Maybe you're not going after the luxury segment, but I'm going to be talking to you like you are tonight. Okay. Because that's the pinnacle. That's the pinnacle of the industry, is to reach a high price point with less bookings and making more money. Okay. And so who is that luxury consumer? Let's look at who the avatar is for that. First of all, female, 61% are luxury consumers are women. They're very educated. Most of them have a master's degree, 53%. Okay. I'm that person. Okay. She explores luxury products via search, shopping sites, and social. And so when you're building your avatar in your mind, think about what this avatar looks for when they buy. Okay. Are they searching bags, handbags, cars, iPhones, clothing? Think of all the different status symbols of luxury. You're in competition with other luxury markets, okay? And that's why it's so important with what you build, that it pulls people into you, okay? Okay, they crave social status. 54% of them are on Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry. On average, the number of luxury brands saw their followings grow by 20% in the past year. Instagram saw a 54% grow in luxury brands, Facebook 4%, and Pinterest is a big hot market for luxury products. Now, who do you think in the luxury segment is buying? Obviously, Gen X and millennials are a huge piece of the market that people are discounting. Now, I've talked a lot about this actually at the Asta River Cruise Show. I kind of played on this a little bit, how I like to call this group the Gucci grammars, because they love to be all over the world flashing their Gucci and getting that shot, that money shot for their Instagram. I have, I've been working in Europe all summer. I've been traveling since May, in Africa, and then I've spent the summer here. I've got 2 more weeks here. And you've never seen more Instagrammers in your life. Like, they're not even enjoying the destination. They're just Instagramming. But in the millennial and Gen X segment, that is a big piece of the luxury segment. And you've got to understand that there is tech, there are remote workers, and they're spending money on travel. So they have disposable incomes, just not those people in the Gen X or the millennial category, but in the luxury segment, they are earning, 45% of them are earning over $100,000. Okay. And they like to shop on their devices, right? Okay. So that's just to give you, I'm going to come back to this. That's just to give you kind of a summary of who we're talking about in this presentation. So first of all, I want you guys to look at your Google business profile. How many of you, tell me in the chat, how many of you have a Google business profile? This is the first part of social or digital marketing that I really want you to get a handle on. First of all, every company, every business should have a Google business profile. It'll help improve your engagement. And people generally go out and Google and answer their questions without going to pages, right? How many times a day do you go, hey, Google, tell me this? Or you just ask Google a question. Google is like, the authority on everything. People do want to do what's called a zero-click search. They just want to ask Google and be there, right? They don't want to be clicking around page after page. Oftentimes people end up on Google business profiles. And so you will be converting more customers if you have that profile. Now, I want you to look at this for a minute and tell me if you're optimized or unoptimized. Okay. So take a look at this. I don't know if I can get this any bigger. I don't think I can. But look to the left. The left is bare. It's not attractive. Okay. There's not really any engagement with it. Doesn't even kind of look like they're in business. There's no questions or answers being asked. It doesn't invite any engagement on it. Look at Ernie's Electric on the other side. Okay. It's got their hours, their phone numbers. They have some questions on there, their website, their reviews. They've got real pictures. They've also got pictures of just a car outside their office showing that they are like working. So do you see the difference between those two? This becomes a trust and authority. A trust and authority that pulls you in. Would you rather go with Carl's Electric or Ernie's? Those two pictures with Ernie's make you feel like you know Ernie just a little bit better. So one of your jobs today, one of your goals, first day of school, you guys, it's September, is optimize your Google My Business. So I want you to write that down. I'm going to optimize Google My Business. This is very easy to do. Look at your own. If you don't have one, just Google how to optimize Google My Business. You'll find instructions. Okay. If you have one and it looks like Carl's Electric on the left, I want you to work on that and make it just look a little bit better. So that's homework, that's strategy. That's a strategy to take home. Excuse me. Okay. So here's a little bit of look. One of the things that you're going to want to do is once you're in your business, you're going to want to go over to that left-hand side and you'll see your post, info, insights, reviews, messaging, photos, services, website. You can complete all of those different sections in there, okay, to help optimize that. And so it's very simple. You're just filling in the blank. And this will probably take 15 or 20 minutes. Really important that once you have developed Google My Business, that you send the review button out to people. Now this gets tricky because I'm Travel Leaders Network. We have our own review system. It really helps me get leads through Travel Leaders. It sends me leads. And so I don't want people to have like too many steps in reviewing, because they'll probably review one time. So do I select Google My Business, or do I select my reviewing system through like Travel Leaders Network? You have to decide that. Google My Business is very powerful for reviews. I would say focus on getting reviews on there. I haven't been diligent about the reviews, probably only have 20 on there, and I have probably 180 on my other, and didn't even start really doing reviews until probably 2018 or 2019. I wish I would have been doing them for the last 20 years, because reviews on Google My Business really do push in the algorithm your profile up. It pushes your business up, and that's what's important about it. Okay. Now, here's some tips on Googling this. Use all 750 characters. So use all of your real estate that you have in that space. Okay. Repurpose your content from your mission statement in your About Us. Okay. Look for keywords that people might use to find your business. Okay. Don't include a lot of links. That will hurt you in the algorithm. And use real photos, not stock photos. And then here's the hidden secret in this, okay? In your photos, make sure they're labeled. Instead of just being like, 45236 point period JPEG, have it be like Vermont waterfall in Manchester. Or whatever, it doesn't need to be that long, but actually give it a name, because Google's going to be searching for the names of those photos. And when they're labeled, that can really help you. When they're not labeled, it can really hurt you. Okay, so no links and no just random photos. You've got to label your photos and give them a good title, something that somebody would search for, and then use your reviews. Okay, any questions with that before we move on? Let me jump out here and look in the questions really quick, because I can't see the chat. Katie says she wants to do better in digital marketing. Yes, Christina's working on it. Katie Orr says, yes, it's me. My posting don't get shown in Facebook feed, so no one sees my business. We're going to talk about that next, Katie. So Katie says, I started creating a Google Biz profile, but I never got the confirmation postcard. I don't know what's wrong. I can't help you on that, but I would probably just start over on that. And hello to Katie, and hello, Renee from South Florida. Okay, let's move on for a minute to Facebook groups versus pages. Now, can you guys still see my screen? Somebody give me a yes. I'm hoping you can. Let me take a drink really quick.
Yes, you're good, Angela. We can still see it.
Okie doke. So most of you may or may not know me from Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Luxury Travel, Social Media and Marketing for Travel Professionals, that has probably 35,000 people in the industry. And that possibly might be how I met some of you Asta people initially. And in fact, I know it's Facebook, the groups, not necessarily my group, but somebody's group, Kyle's group, somebody, I went out and said, hey, I'm not getting any of the Asta information. For some reason, they've got me in South Miami, so I was never getting any invitations to anything. And so groups can become a form of communication for you, right? And that's how we all connected, and we're all here together now singing Kumbaya together tonight, is because these Facebook groups have brought us together, right? So let's talk a little bit about the difference between Facebook groups and pages. Now, a lot of you probably have pages. If you have pages, I want you to raise your hand in the chat. Not raise your hand, just tell me, yes, I have a page in the chat. I just want to see how many people actually are using pages and they don't see any difference with that. You post, there's just no love coming from that. Okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is what happens. Honestly, probably less than 2% of the people that you're posting to are seeing your pages. Why is that? Anybody know? Okay. Let me tell you why. 4 or 5 years ago, when Facebook changed their algorithm, used to be that everybody saw your pages. You could add anybody to your pages. About 4 or 5 years ago, they changed their advertising algorithm. They wanted more people watching movies and reels, and they wanted more people reading news feeds and advertising, right? And so now your algorithm gets shifted to appeal to whatever you're interested in. And so what happens is, if you're not advertising on your Facebook page, Cindy Lou Smith down the road, who's going to buy a Crystal Cruise, is not seeing your page, even though you're neighbors and she's 5 doors down, because she's not engaging with your page and you're not paying to advertise on your page. Now, if you feel depressed, let me know in the chat. Say, I'm feeling depressed, Angela, because that has been me and that's been you. I know that has been. Everywhere I speak around the world, people come up to me and say that, like, oh my gosh, revelation with this whole Google page thing, or I'm sorry, Facebook page thing. So it's the truth. Facebook pages are kind of a thing of the past. But here's the thing, you have to have a business page if you want to run any Facebook advertising, or if you want to connect your business page on Instagram for reels or stories, then you need to be connected, because now Meta is the parent company of Instagram and Facebook. Meta now controls the universe. And, 10 years ago, they didn't. And so they were separate entities. Now they control the universe and they're bringing everything under kind of one login, one label. So the bottom line is, if you're not paying for paid advertising, your page is probably completely useless. Now, do you need to keep posting on your page? Absolutely. Because you don't want people to come back. And this is a problem that I've actually had. And so I'm speaking from experience. This fall, we're actually going back to our page because we grow groups. 35,001 for my Luxury Travel University program, nearly 4,000 in my consumer facing agency group, which I hardly spend any time working on. All of my advisors, so I have 67 advisors, I encourage them all to start a Facebook group. And this is why, because in Facebook groups, you can have messaging going on, right? You can have mass messaging going on. There's conversation going on in the groups, where when you're on a business page, there's not conversation going back and forth. You can keep your group closed or open. I actually keep mine open, and I sometimes get some slack for that. I keep them open for one general reason. And people have slapped me back on this, because they're like, yeah, every time that you have it open and you post, it goes out to like all our friends. Well, hello, that's exactly what I want happening, is when we post something in there and maybe we tag everyone, it does go out to all your friends. The reach is stronger. Now, if you're feeling super private, you can make those groups private as well. I've noticed that the private groups tend to grow slower with the latest algorithm. So I've done tests with that. I've also learned through my own testing. So this isn't this isn't Facebook gospel, but I've also learned that when my Facebook page is attached to my Facebook group, because it's one company, that my percentage of likes and readability went down. And so I've done some just kind of my own testing to find out that, hey, when it's hooked to the page drags it down. And so I unhooked the page to it. Okay. Now, when's a page good for? A page is good when you want to advertise. You have to have a page to run Facebook ads. Okay. Now, Facebook groups have some downside. You get in your Facebook groups, but you don't really get the engagement metrics there or the promotional widgets. Okay. But you get a lot of bang for your buck in there. You can stream. So I use a program called StreamYard, which I think I might be talking about a little bit later. StreamYard, to do live Facebooks in there. And we'll be talking about that. Also, Facebook groups are indexed just like Facebook pages. Okay. And so I encourage everybody to go out and start a group. Now, if you own a host agency or you have ICs under you, or you are an IC, you're going to want to check with what your company's okay with. You always should be an independent affiliate of Trips and Ships Luxury Travel, or an independent affiliate of John's host agency. Okay. Somewhere up in the corner in the About Me section. And then also be like, hey, this is an unofficial group. This is an unofficial agency group. It's a space for me to grow and share with you, all of my travel, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And that's where you should be putting your inspiration. Now, when I say inspiration because I hate in the luxury world, I hate this. I hate when my advisors, and I'll call them out on it, will be like, hey, we've got a hot deal on this NCL cruise. Well, great. That's not screaming premium or luxury travel. And you're only attracting what you put out there. Okay. So you put out every single day in that Facebook group something that you want to attract. Okay. So this is the law of attraction, people. I want you to put it out there. I want you to get super excited about it, maybe even indifferent about things. Because passion doesn't always sell, indifference does. But what I want you to do is inspire people. Okay. What does not go well in Facebook are links. So if you're linking travel and leisure's hottest top 5 destinations, you're going to get a lower play on that particular post. You put out a beautiful photo of inspiration. Now, I have a Shutterstock account. I download my own Shutterstocks to use. I never grab an image. And let me tell you a little bit about that and why. For 2.5 years, I was pretty much unemployed in 2009. So this is a family travel agency. I've been working there since I was 14. I have my master's degree, but in 2009, the stock market crashed. Travel was really almost like COVID again. Not shut, not the world shut, but travel, it was a global stock market crash and people were not buying. Travel runs on the stock market and war. Okay. And so if we have a war, people don't go. If we have a stock market crash, they don't go. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just love photography so much. I went out and bought probably $10,000 worth of equipment. And I was like, I'm going to shoot photography for the next couple of years because I've taken a lot of classes, I have an eye for photography. It was amazing. But one thing I learned is that people, because I did a lot of news, as for like the news agencies, I went out and shot for them. And one thing I learned is there's a lot of people who spend all day searching the internet to see if someone has used their image. Okay. And if you're just out there using any random images in your posts or on your websites or on your social media, because it's a really great picture of Mickey and Minnie or beaches, Turks and Caicos, or of, Budapest, you're putting yourself just with a ton of liability. And the reason why is there are people that have made it a full-time job to go out and find people. They'll send you a letter. They will tell you, you're using my image, take it down. I've screenshotted that you're using it. And now you owe me X amount of dollars. And believe it or not, in your errors and omission of policy, so I use Berkshire in our errors and E&O insurance. Okay. I actually buy the social media liability extra package or whatever it tacks onto my policy. And that is because I want to be protected if someone does come after me or my agency, because some advisor, was not thinking and posted an image that did not belong or we did not have royalty rights for. And you may think that that's kind of like, sure, that's a long shot. It's not a long shot. I've seen many agencies over the course of my career be fined for images that were not theirs. And so, but here's the thing, Unsplash, you can download free images there. Canva, you need to look what their distribution rights are. A lot of them you can. Shutterstock, I buy my own images for web use. Okay. Now, one thing that you've got to know is I've seen lawsuits too, where people have downloaded that and now they printed out 12,000 wedding brochures for a bridal show and been fined because they didn't read that they could only use those images. Yes, you could only use that particular image in web and not in print. So you kind of need to know. And I know what's going on in your mind. You're like, I just wanted to show up to this webinar and figure out how I could do more business because I just want to sell travel. I get that. And I'm feeling for all of us because it's a lot. There's a lot of things, but education's powerful. So once you know, just make sure that you use correct images. Okay. Now, let's go back to Facebook groups for a minute. I love to post the inspiration in my Facebook group. So for instance, this is a Shutterstock photo. I see a lot of people sharing that photo. I sometimes laugh. I'm like, they come out to my page, share it, my group, share it. Facebook groups help you develop a loyal following. So what happens when you're online? And I know this is a one-way conversation right now. What happens when you're online? You grow an affinity to either love or hate a person that you're following, right? In fact, I was teaching at the University of 2020 because we weren't, and virtually, okay? We had a whole section on this of how marketing, how social media, like maybe I'm following Scott. I didn't know Scott at first. Maybe I met Scott one time, but all of a sudden Scott starts posting. And at first I'm kind of bugged by Scott. I'm like, oh, geez, I wish he'd stop showing up in my feed so much. So, you know, Facebook obviously has an unfollow, or you can not see Scott for 30 days. Let's say I don't unfollow and I don't want to see, and I still continue to see Scott. Now Scott's telling me a story because he's posting. I'm learning about his life. Okay. And now I'm like, I can't unfollow Scott. He's awesome. And now I feel like I know Scott. And all of a sudden, I see Scott at an ASTA convention in, San Juan or somewhere. And I'm like, Scott, how's your sister doing? I had no idea she got in a car wreck. Is she recovering? And Scott's like, oh yeah, thanks for following along. That's so great. And do you see what's happening? All of a sudden you feel this emotional connection with somebody. None of you know me. Some of you have followed me for years. You have no idea what my real life looks like. You only know my life online. I've pretty much been an open book. I literally almost everywhere I go will meet somebody that it's amazing that I could be in Iceland 2 weeks ago and I called up a tour supplier and he says, oh my gosh, I've been in your group for 5 years. And I'm like, that's amazing. Let's work together. We ended up having an amazing business relationship. I used him for all of my clients that went to Iceland with me a couple of weeks ago on the pre and post for WinStar. And, it was really, there's things like that where you're like, oh my gosh, how did I link up with this guy in Timbuktu and now we're doing business together? Some of my best relationships have come from Facebook groups. And so where it's a little creepy, I get it. You know a lot of information about people, but you're developing this concept of learning and sharing together. And it really becomes a conversation starter for you. Now, some of you are sitting there going, oh my gosh. Yeah, you pretty much have told us your whole life story. Storytelling is a very, very important element of being successful in marketing, and I would say in life. People are more inclined to want to follow you, to want to be a part of your network, to attach on to your storyline, even if they irritated you in the beginning or you irritated them in the beginning. Social media is funny because look how many people follow Prince Harry. You don't know Prince Harry from Adam, but now you're buying his books and he's a royal and he's telling a story. And we know that Meghan's in trouble with everybody over here. And, and all of a sudden we know more about this couple who we really don't even know. And maybe it's just because they're royal, but what about, Kim Kardashian? Hello. I mean, 5 women, you end up attaching on, and all of a sudden you know everything about the Kardashians, sadly enough, because you're following a storyline. Okay. I want you today to go, okay, I'm going to tell my story. What is my story? What is my why? What is my story? Okay. And how can I tell my story better in my posting? Okay. So let's talk about some engagement strategies in your groups. Okay. So this is really interesting. 1 year ago, I had 20, because I actually used a slide when I spoke at Cruise World last year. I had, and this is a screenshot of my group, I had 22,000 members. Today I have 35,000 members. That's how quickly you can grow a following. Now, what am I doing with this group that's warrants 35,000? I work as an influencer for brands off of it. I run fam trips for brands off of it. I can run digital strategies. I get asked to speak off of it. It ends up like, spinning out into different things that you didn't know existed when you only had 400 people. Prior to COVID, let me tell you about this group. Prior to COVID, this had 400 people in it. 400, and it didn't even really have a name. It was like my social media travel group. On Memorial Day of 2020, so it's May 2020, Florida had just opened up. I flew out to go take my kids to Zion's National Park. I grew up in Utah. I was like, my kids have never been in the national park, so the only thing's open. I've got to get out of this house. I've got to get out of Florida. We flew into Vegas. Nobody was in Vegas. Nobody was at the airport. We were the only people. We drove to Zion's. And I had this thought in my mind. My business was at zero. We were at ground zero. Pretty much lost everything. Most of my advisors, I'd say 90% of my advisors back then, 12 advisors, okay, had taken other jobs. I mean, they were worried. We had single moms. We had, they needed income, and, the world was not recovering. I had this thought in my mind, like, focus on your Facebook group. And I remember thinking, it was so clear. It was like, as clear as day, like this little personal revelation from God to myself, like, focus on your Facebook group. And I thought, okay, pretty much lost everything. It's May of 2020. Travel's not recovering. I'm an academic. I can see the writing on the wall of this thing is not going to recover, and it didn't recover. And I was like, there's one thing I can do every day, and I can be consistent. Okay. I can be consistent posting. And that's the lesson I want you to take away, because I was consistent every day. I was talking to myself every day. So a couple of things that I did, I ran Facebook Lives, once or twice a week. I would put up polls that nobody answered. I was telling stories in there about luxury brands. I was recognizing members that were following me in the group. I was making it easy with questions that people could engage in. And I was getting 5 likes, 6 likes. But people started showing up one at a time. And I remember when I reached 3,000, I was like, whew, wow, I can't believe I went from 400 to 3,000. And then it was 5,000, and then it was 8,000. And you know what? I have not missed a day. And the consistency, I cannot tell you in the last 3 years, how much payout and I'm not talking financial payout. I'm talking emotional payout my group has given me. And nobody ever says that about social media. Social media either gives you anxiety or, pretty much a death sentence, but I cannot tell you how many strong relationships have come from this group, how many networking deals I've created, how many DMCs so I started private consult. Well, I was a private consultant before, but in the group, I thought, hey, the only thing I can do is kind of private consult. We're not selling any travel. I went out and I started private consulting to advisors. That's fine. They were a paying client. There were several DMCs in this group. I thought, hey, I'm used to doing a lot of humanitarian work. I don't have any way to give back. Some of these DMCs reached out, and I thought, I'm going to help you rebuild your business during COVID. Okay. And so we started meeting, a few times throughout the next several months, and I pretty much pulled their businesses apart. You're going to know some of them. Yasser Saleh in Egypt, Cadence Vacations. He's now a member of Internova, and it got vetted, and I helped bring him into Internova. That was a huge, huge thing. It took us 3 years to get him there. Bernard Naziza Hospitality. He's one of my best operators in East Africa. I went there in November of 2020. I ran 7 trips to Africa during COVID. I was the only person pretty much in the Serengeti. And he and he had nothing. I pretty much had nothing. And I was like, let me help you build your business. And in the meantime, it helped build my business because Africa was the first rebounding country for us in the luxury segment that came back. And I just put all of my money and my time into rebuilding Africa, and it paid off for us. Another one, Danae of Travel Beyond Wellness. You know her well. She runs a big high-end luxury Greece tour operator, or DMC. And she was destitute, and it's amazing what she's done now with her group. And I said to her, hey, you've got to start a group. And the group started generating interest for her. Angela Macaluso, you see my fam trips with her. She's another one that I took a risk on, and she's still got issues. She's grown so fast that she just doesn't have a lot of back office support. And so I'm going back over there with another fam trip, helping her rebuild in a couple weeks in October. This is what I'm talking about. The Facebook groups have power in them. So how does that relate to you? You're an agent. You're like, maybe not consulting. Maybe you're not looking to work with other brands. I was at a different stage in my career at that time. But what about if you just want to sell travel? What are the types of things that you can be putting out there? One, you need to make sure that they are always high-end premium products. Okay. And you're going to bring value by getting people attracted to them. Okay. So you're not the marketer for celebrity cruise lines. You're not the marketer for beaches or for sandals with their 7-7-7 thing. You are an inspirer. Okay. I want you inspiring people in the things that you post. And so I want you posting about destinations. I want you telling people how you feel when you're in that destination. I want you to tell people how that's impacted your family or your life since you become engaged with that. Now you're thinking, geez, I've never been to Budapest. How can I tell people that? Give them facts, give them something to read about. Here's how I always do my post. Let's actually just go out to a post. Okay. Do we still have time, Scott? Because I get going crazy on these things.
We got about 15 minutes left, so another
Okay.
5 before we have to give time for Q&A.
Okay. So let me go really quick, because I just get going, and then all of a sudden 5 hours has passed, right? Okay, let's go to my Facebook, and let me just show you. Now, this is an extensive one right now. Okay, but I just want to show you a format. Okay, so here's my Facebook page. This was a recent article or a recent YouTube video Insider Travel Report did. So I keep this at the top of my pin post there. Let me tell you 2 things I want to see from you guys, okay? I took this photo in London probably 10 years ago. I've kept it my whole entire time. Use this real estate up here to be beautiful, okay? Pick whatever inspires you to go there. And I want your headshot to be amazing. Because once people leave your Facebook groups and they come to your page, I want a real headshot there, not just some selfie that you took at the Reu, okay? And then I want you to come up with some intro right here, your 30 seconds. I curate jaw-dropping, breathtaking luxury vacations. That's it. Okay. Use your real estate. Real estate meaning everything that you can here to develop your profile. Now, people are asking right now, do I have a personal page? Or do I have a business page? Or do I have a group? Because you've been talking about all 3 things. And I get this every time I speak somewhere. Your life, you have to decide what you want out of your personal page. I do not mix business selling, okay, on my personal page. I save that for my Facebook group. But I do talk travel all of the time, interweaved with my family because that's my real life. Okay. So for instance, today, now this is an extensive post. This is not a normal post I would expect anybody to do. But let me tell you how I break it up. This is not a normal post. This is a story I was telling about my daughter over here. Look how I just break it up with these emojis. It helps the reader, okay? So here, I'm having a little bit of a struggle in Liverpool. You know, I had just been with John Lennon and the Beatles and going on their tour, and all of a sudden there was a train strike. And I'm telling the story of this train strike and how I'm in this tangled mess and I can't get back to London. And I'm using strawberry emojis for Strawberry Lane. You know, it just makes it easier to read. It makes it just easy. So break them up. Okay, when you do that. And listen, I like to tell informational tidbits, okay, about a destination. Now, some would say, oh, that's a geographer in you. That's your college professor geographer hat on. Absolutely. I'll run with that all day long because I like to teach people about landscape. I like to teach people about right here, this Eileen Donan Castle and the confluence of these sea locks and how this impacts you know, this experience right here. You know, I tell a little bit about the horrific potato famine impacting the immigration of the population, because guess what? This landscape was harsh, which changed the immigration. And it eventually brought millions of people to the United States. And so give people information that they find valuable. Most people probably would not know there was a horrific potato famine here. Maybe they don't care. But, you know, I'm interweaving my real life, my life here this summer with facts, with inspirational photography. You know, I took this picture just the other day of Dunrobin Castle. Most people don't know about Dunrobin. You know, I ditched the Loch Ness Monster and I went there, you know, and I just gave one little piece about this, you know, and very popular with people. All of a sudden people were like saying to me, oh my gosh, I didn't know I needed to go to Scotland until after this piece, you know, or after I saw this photo. Alan Witt Castle, you know, for Harry Potter fans. And, you know, the thing is, like, you want to intertwine real things. And then, sure, this is my real life. You know, people are going to tag me. Somebody tagged me here on the cruise. Great. Some ugly picture here. You know, but here I am with my kids. I live in Central Florida. You know, I popped home for a weekend for my son's birthday and, you know, just doing my regular thing. And so I don't have a problem like putting my experiences interweaved with travel into, you know, my feed, because people now are knowing me. They know my kids, they know me. You know what that equates to? Trust. They trust me. Maybe they don't trust me. Maybe they hate me and they've unfollowed me. That's fine too. But a lot of people, you're growing a trust with people. And when they see your life, they see that maybe you're an honest person. Maybe you volunteered somewhere. Maybe you give back. Maybe you're a humanitarian. Now they're thinking, that's a person I want to do business with. Maybe they're not talking about me. Maybe they're talking about you. So you want to be posting things that reflect how you really feel about life. None of your posting should be so difficult that you feel like it's hard to post. Like, I just don't know what to say. You tell your story. That's what I want you to walk away with today is like, I want to know what your story is. Okay. When I'm reading your post, I don't want to know that doTERRA oil has 10 flavors or that Tupperware has 6 spatulas, right? You know, nobody wants to know that NCL has, you know, 7 specials on. They can find that anywhere. Okay, Scott's giving me the window here. Let me wind this down really quick because we really probably need to have like part 2 on this because
Yeah, we do. And part 3 and 4. We'll just slot you in every month.
Yeah. Can we say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just go back here for a minute. Let me just wrap up here and then okay, let's just finish up. Kind of something I want to talk about here is just, can you see my screen?
Not
Yes
yet.
or no?
No.
Okay, let's get Sharon. Maybe I won't be able to because now I've lost the Zoom. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We're gonna hurry and wrap this up. Go live,
Not
you
sharing.
guys. Go live. Okay, can we see it? No?
No.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Under pressure. Okay. So what I want you guys to think about is when you're on social media is going live. People hate live. They hate video because they hate seeing themselves on video. They're thinking, I'm 40 pounds overweight and I'm not going live until I've had lipo and I've lost 60, or, until my acne clears up, or until I get a haircut, or until I'm done having kids. Don't wait. Start going live now. People love authentic live. Okay. And I'll often just go ahead and grab my phone right here, whether and this is so blurry, you can't even see it. And I'll be with a business development manager, or I'll be with Scott at an event and be like, hey, we're here. We're just doing this. And it's that easy, that fun, 1 minute, 2 minute. And then finally, in video marketing strategy, set your goals, define who your audience is going to be, define the types of videos you want to do. Are you going to do real interviews, live? Are they going to be fun? And then just share. So I have like 4 hours more in this database, but we're going to stop there.
Yeah, we'll stop. We'll find some more time when you're not on a plane or a ship where you have good Wi-Fi, and in the right time zones. So we'll get that scheduled sometime at some point in the future, Renee. Not entirely sure when schedules will align again. Because we scheduled this one, May or June?
Forever ago.
Yeah, it was forever ago. And it was just one of those, like, we got a slot. We'll take whatever week we get. Anyway, so we do have some questions, which for those of you that just joined during the presentation, if you have questions, please put them into the Q&A box so that we can track them there and I don't lose them in any conversations. So Katie's asking, how do I get verified for Google when she's home-based? And because Google wants a way to verify of a video of their business.
Ooh, I don't know if I have the answer for that. You'll probably have to go. You'll probably have to Google that one, because what you're saying is you can't get verified putting up a video of your business. I don't know if I have the answer to that one.
Yeah, I don't either. I know I was able to get verified when they sent me a postcard to my home address. You can't send it to like a UPS store.
Oh, you know what? Yes, you can. Okay, so here's the thing. Because I actually had this issue and had to get verified. I was verified and then it popped off because I'm home-based as well. I'm going to have to think that through what we did, because we did do something to get verified. Yeah, I think I had to take my address off. I think you have to take your address off.
Yeah, so from what I remember, Katie, I had to put my home address in for the verification part. Google still has that, so you can't remove it, because as soon as you do, they're going to flag it and unverify you. But then you hide that address on the ad itself or on the listing itself, so people don't have it.
Yeah, that's what I think the answer is, because I actually all of a sudden one day was off Google, and I actually hired somebody in Timbuktu to help me with that. And that, I think Scott's exactly right. So you have it on, take it off. Don't take it off, hide it. I think is what
or they've updated it, because it's maybe they're doing videos now, because Nikki's talking about a picture with her name on the door, which I would just get Sharpies and write my name out. So they might have updated their process and we just got lucky and had an easier time. Renee, so we will go over, y'all, so I'm sorry if you have something to do at 3 o'clock, you can drop off. I'll send the recording out after this, so you can all catch up on any Q&As that we have that past 3. But Renee's talking, how many groups should she create? Just one for the entire business, several for each interest group, European travel, cruise, etc.
You know what? I'm telling you right now, Renee, I'd start with one, because as groups grow, they become really time consuming. And, I had started one like in 2019, like Girls Who Travel type thing. We had a girls travel club. A lot of single, divorced, rich women travel with me. Their husbands have cheated on them. They have a ton of money and they travel with me. And I was like, hey, this could be a market. And the thing is, I just couldn't maintain it. And nothing's worse than not being able to maintain a group. So I'd say start with one. And then if you feel like you have a niche to break off on, then go that direction. But I would grow one really solid before I'd start multiple groups.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I tried to start one for Virgin forever ago and it didn't go anywhere because I didn't have the time to put into it.
Yeah, it's consistent every single day. So, you know,
Yep. And so, like, as we're talking about creating groups, so for an agency or even an IC, what's a good name? Like, do you want like Rainbow Getaways, Luxury Travel, or should it be something more organic than
well,
having
okay, that's a
business?
really great question, because the problem is, if like I have associates who work under my brand, Trips and Ships, and then I have affiliates who work under their own brand. And so the affiliates would obviously run with their own brand.
Yeah.
Luxurious Journeys is one that works for me. I'm Susie McMahon. Now my Trips and Ships girls, you know, they'll have something like Jill's Luxury Travel or something. They have to be really careful on that, because they can't look to be like they're branding themselves. And I've gone out and been like, wait, are you now Jill's Luxury Travel? You know, or Danielle's Luxury, you know, you have to, and that's why you need to probably use the asterisk. I mean, you can come up with any name, but you have to be really careful with that, because you don't want to put yourself in a branding category, and especially if you end up having liability down the road, you
Yeah.
know. And so some of my girls will do like Erin's travel group, or just something easy,
Yeah.
you know, my travel hangout or something like that. It doesn't have to be like a branded something, but one thing I want you to think about is when somebody searches for a group, what they search for. Okay. And so my one girl had Erin's Travel Zoom. She lives in Windermere, Florida. And I was like, what is Travel Zoom? Like, that's so weird. And she eventually changed it to like Erin's Luxury Travel Group, you know, just with an apostrophe. Because, you know, I was like, why are you using Travel Zoom? Like, nobody's Google, you know, when somebody's searching for a travel group, nobody's going to, what's Travel Zoom mean? You know, it didn't make any sense. So you do have to think a little bit on that, a little bit on the branding piece of what will somebody search in Facebook if they're looking for your group.
No, totally. Yeah, Katie, I think hiring a consultant's gonna be the best way to go to fix it. Like, I know a web guy, but I'm not entirely sure how well he does with
Honestly, I went out to Fiverr
Google.
and found somebody to help me get
Yeah.
Google verified again, and, you know, paid him $30 or something, $50, and
Yeah.
got back up.
Any other questions that you all have? Because I know we're at the top of the hour, so something that, like, when we're talking about reviews, I'll just kind of reiterate, like, you want to pick a place where people are doing your reviews, because we all have multiple places, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's TLN, like all these places people leave reviews, like, and wherever you get the most people is really where you want them. Like, I have reviews spread out across all of them. My focus is now Google, because that's where I get my traffic, is Google, compared to the other ones. Like, I get occasionally some from my old host that no longer exist anymore through TLN, which is always funny to see come in. But
That's funny that they haven't turned you off. Yeah.
I say the same thing every time. Like, I can't even log in anymore. I reset the password at some point.
You know what? It's because they've shut down your profile, but they haven't made you inactive.
Yeah. So it's great. But yeah, so pick where you're going. Now, when you're looking at the Q&A boxes that are on there, because like you want it filled out, is it better to let somebody ask the questions, or should you post a Q&A and answer it yourself?
Oh, I think you should just make up your own Q&A. You know, some of the best. Yeah. And then if people, you know, people do have the option to post a question on there, and then you can put 3 or 4 different Q&As there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, great, guys. Well, thank you so much. We will figure out a time to do part 2 of probably multiple sessions. But again, I will send this out as a recording to everyone. Feel free to reach out to Angela if you have any questions. I will say that you might have to wait a little bit because she is always traveling the globe and doesn't always have great Wi-Fi.
My phone's always on.
Yeah. And you will get an email with a survey. Please provide your feedback. I love hearing it because it does help us plan out what we're doing in the future, so that we can make sure that we cover appropriate things for the chapter. But otherwise, enjoy your day and happy Tuesday.
Adios. See you guys later.